have acquired many key pieces since losing to the Ravens in round 1 of the playoffs, including locking down defensive star T.J. Watt, trading for DK Metcalf and Jalen Ramsey, while picking up Aaron Rodgers for a year. However, another star, Cam Heyward, is looking to get in on the payouts.
It's hard for me to, after the year I've had, to really justify playing at the number I'm playing at. I understand I signed a contract last year, but to be completely honest with you, when I signed that, I told them, when I have an all-pro year, expect me to come back. And you can look at the contract and see what it was, but I think everybody kind of giggled a little bit, but in my heads, I used it as motivation to go out there and prove it.
Marcus, is Heyward justified in holding out?
This one is very difficult for me, Molly. I think there's justification because of the production and where he is considerably amongst all D tackles. He's still one of the best. This is hard for the Pittsburgh Steelers because it's an aging vet, but he said it right there, and I'm going to take Cam for his word for it. I happen to know him. I don't know Cam to be a liar, and said when I have an all-pro year, we're going to come back to the table. So if that is the case, he should be asking to be compensated as one of the top guys in the league. And then again, organizationally, right? Like there's a lot you have to do, a lot you have to process. You just paid TJ Watt as well. So Cam is well within his right if that was what he told this organization at the time of the other extension.
I think he's justified. Do I understand why the organization might be like, wait a minute, we just gave you money? Of course. But as a player, I'm always, for the most part, I'm going to side with the players. You have a finite window where you can maximize your leverage. And in Cam's case, he feels like he can maximize it. The Steelers seem to be all in. They don't go very far without him. And that's what he knows.
Yeah. He's been named to 7 Pro Bowls in the last 8 years. He's a leader inside the locker room as well. A consummate professional, a model citizen who produces at a high level. He had a muscle strain, and what do? You come to him because he had missed time. He was limited to 11 games, the 2023 season. You came to him to ask him to take a pay cut, restructure his deal. He does so, goes out there, plays with an injury, and still turns around and says to you, when I have an all-pro year, expect me to come back.
Come back, yep.
Okay? So he didn't lie. He didn't mislead. He just produced. Yep. You owe him that.
He produced.
You owe him that.
Where are the Steelers without him?
Well, the leadership in that locker room is compromised. The leadership on the defensive side of the ball, that puts more of an onus on T.J. Watt. That's not good. And he's a veteran, and we know this. I think that it would be a big loss
Stephen
not to have him. Yes.
Cam Heyward had 8 sacks last year.
Yes, he did. He had 8 sacks.
This is not somebody we're talking about, give me something. This is one of the premier defensive tackles still in the NFL.
And an interior lineman.
Matters to them winning.
An interior lineman. You've got T.J. Watt as your edge rusher. He had 8 sacks. He had 56 pressures, and that was 4th in the league. 4th in tackles for a loss with 12. He also batted down more passes than any other defensive lineman in the National Football League with 11. And considering how pathetic and putrid the Steelers' offense was, you definitely needed every bit of production he gave you.
Beyond just the stats, as somebody who's been in that locker room and covers that team, Cam Heyward is that presence that you go to in the locker room, good and bad. When the team is careening, when the team is on a 10-game winning streak, Cam, put it all in perspective. That's what you are paying for, not just, it's the Terry McLaurin. It's not just the production. It's what do you mean in that locker room.
Leave it there.
And do you vibe with the Steelers?
Former player, our beloved Ryan Clark. And RC asked him what he says when people bring up his drought in playoff wins. Mike Tomlin, talk to me.
Say nothing. We got resumes. We all do. And we got to stand on that. I live a life, man, where I don't seek comfort. I don't make excuses. Engaging in that discussion to me is excuses. I don't live that life, man. Like, I pour everything I got into what I do, man, and when the dust settles, it settles, and I keep it moving. And so, I don't care a whole lot about what people have to say.
I do.
I don't. Like, respectfully, I don't. Some people, some people talk, some people watch, some people do. I'm glad I'm a doer. I'm glad I live in that world.
It's an excellent interview on the pivot. They go a lot of different places. RC and Tomlin are very close from all their time together. But that part of it is interesting, the way he manages this. And you cover that team closely all the time. And we're all aware, or maybe people aren't all aware, that locally, nationally, Mike Tomlin is a revered figure. Everyone around the country thinks he is one of the 2 or 3 best coaches in football. The hardcore Steeler fans see all these playoff losses, and a lot of them are frustrated, and a lot of them point the finger of blame at the coach.
For years.
What is your sense of what he is saying there and what we should be expecting?
Well, that's vintage Tomlin. He didn't tell me anything I didn't already know. I'm glad he's a doer. The Steelers fans need his quarterback to be a doer this season, because that's really the only thing anybody cares about. How good can Aaron Rodgers be? How good can this offense be? Can they finally win a playoff game? Mike Tomlin is a good enough coach where he can get this team 4 to 5 wins just by virtue of being himself. But the standard it needs to be elevated. The standard is the standard, but for right now, the standard has been no losing seasons. That's not going to cut it. But as long as he wants to be in Pittsburgh, he'll be in Pittsburgh.
Swag, I haven't had a chance to talk to you this entire preseason. What is your sense of this team with Rodgers and sort of the trade for DK Metcalf, a very un-Steeler-like offseason? They seem to be going all in for this year. What is your...
Steelers Nation, we've got a lot to unpack today. You just saw the clip, and it's clear this offseason in Pittsburgh has been one of the most aggressive in recent memory. The front office didn't just tinker around the edges. They locked up TJ Watt, swung blockbuster trades for DK Metcalf and Jalen Ramsey, and pulled the biggest headline grabber of all, signing Aaron Rodgers for what could be his final NFL season. But in the middle of all that hype, another storyline is unfolding that could shape not just this season, but the entire locker room's energy: Cam Heyward's contract standoff. The Cam Heyward situation: respect, legacy, and leverage. When Cam Heyward speaks, you can hear the conviction in his voice. In the clip, he flat out said it's hard to justify playing at the number I'm playing at after the season he just had. And let's remember, this isn't some backup trying to cash in. We're talking about a 7-time Pro Bowler who, even at 36, put up 8 sacks, 56 pressures, 12 tackles for loss, and 11 batted passes last season. That's elite interior line production, period. And it's not just about numbers. This man is a captain, a voice in the huddle when things are falling apart, and the one putting an arm around rookies when they needed most. When the offense sputtered last year, and boy, did it sputter, it was Heyward and the defense that kept the Steelers competitive week after week. From what's been reported by outlets like Reuters and Behind the Steel Curtain, this situation is what's called a hold-in. Heyward is showing up, but not going full tilt in practice while the contract talks play out. And here's the key detail. According to Heyward himself, when he restructured his deal last year to help the team's cap, he told them point blank, "If I have an all-pro year, expect me to come back to the table." Well, he delivered. And now, he's calling in that promise. Of course, from the front office perspective, it's complicated. They just paid TJ Watt, they've got Aaron Rodgers' contract on the books, they traded for Metcalf and Ramsey, and they need cap flexibility for in-season moves. But if you believe in rewarding performance and keeping your core leaders happy, you make it work. Because losing Cam Heyward, that's not just a drop in production. That's a hit to the heartbeat of this locker room. Aaron Rodgers' arm and Ryan Clark's epiphany. Now let's shift to the other headline from that clip. Ryan Clark, a man who's been watching Rodgers for years as an analyst, comes to Steelers camp and suddenly has this almost jaw-dropping moment: Aaron Rodgers can still really throw the football. Stephen A. Smith, of course, couldn't resist calling him out for realizing this now. But here's the thing. Watching Rodgers on TV is one thing. Seeing him throw in person, feeling the zip on the ball, watching the timing, the touch, that's a different experience. Especially for someone like Clark, who's been in NFL secondaries and knows how small those throwing windows are. This isn't the 2011 MVP version of Rodgers. Nobody's pretending that. But the Steelers don't need him to be the best quarterback in the league. They need him to be sharp, decisive, and capable of hitting those big throws when the defense gives him a chance. And if Clark's reaction is any indication, Rodgers still has the juice to do it. The all-in gamble and the chemistry question. This offseason was very un-Steelers-like. This is a franchise that usually builds through the draft, avoids headline-chasing trades, and keeps a long-term mindset. But this year, Omar Khan went all in. Rodgers, Metcalf, Ramsey, those aren't slow-build moves. Those are win-now moves, which is why the Heyward situation becomes even more important. You can't have an all-in roster and a fractured locker room over one of your leaders feeling undervalued. Rodgers' connection with DK Metcalf will be huge. And let's be honest, DK isn't a classic route technician like Davante Adams. He's a size and speed nightmare who can dominate in the red zone and on vertical routes. Chemistry there will take time. The real question, who becomes that reliable chain-moving wide receiver too? Calvin Austin, rookie Roman Wilson, maybe even a surprise Camp Brinkout like Rock Taylor. Defense, the real engine of 2025 Steelers football. Here's where I'm planting the flag. If the Steelers make a deep playoff run, it's going to be on the back of this defense. With TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith terrorizing quarterbacks, Jalen Ramsey and Joey Porter Jr. locking down the outside, and hopefully Cam Heyward clogging the middle, this could be the league's best defensive unit. And in today's NFL, a top 3 defense plus competent quarterback play is a legitimate Super Bowl recipe. Rodgers doesn't need to throw for 5,000 yards. He needs to protect the football, hit timely deep shots, and keep drives alive. The defense will take care of the rest. Mike Tomlin, the doer. We also heard Tomlin in the clip addressing criticism about playoff droughts with vintage Tomlin swagger. Some people talk, some people watch, some people do. I'm glad I'm a doer. And that's exactly what the Steelers need from him this season. But here's the truth. The standard can't just be no losing seasons anymore. Not with this roster. Not after this offseason. The standard now has to be playoff wins. That's the only measuring stick that matters in 2025.